The ongoing war in Ukraine has somewhat ironically turned into a proving ground for Russia's military evolution. Instead of depleting Moscow's strength, the conflict appears to be offering its forces a fast tracked education in modern warfare and an opportunity to recalibrate against NATO backed forces. US Lieutenant General Charles Costanza recently underscored this unexpected development in an interview, expressing concerns that Russia's growing adaptability and resourcefulness on the battlefield could, in the long run, present NATO with a formidable and better prepared Russian forces. As NATO observes, Russia seems to be playing a long game, one that is slowly but surely reshaping the balance of military power. General Costanza, who leads the US Army's 5 Corps in Poland, pointed out a shift in perspective. While many expected that Russia would take years to recover from the massive toll of this prolonged conflict, the reality on the ground suggests otherwise. While West has claimed that Russia has suffered approximately 600,000 casualties, yet its military size has not dwindled as expected. In fact, Russia's forces have grown. It is not just about having well trained soldiers, Costanza remarked. They may not be as trained, but they are certainly bigger. According to Costanza, Russia has adapted to the challenges of fighting a NATO backed Ukraine, evolving in real time to learn the tactics and technology used by the West. It is as if Russia is sitting through a master class where it is learning every day about NATO's weaknesses. What is happening in Ukraine is like a strategic judo move, turning an opponent's strength into one's own advantage. According to General Costanza, the Russian forces have been refining their equipment, techniques, and strategies in response to the Western military doctrine and technology they encounter. The conflict has forced Russia to think critically about how to counteract NATO weapons. In October, Russian Defense Minister Andriy Belosov acknowledged that Moscow is analyzing NATO equipment captured on the battlefield. Russian engineers and scientists are identifying weaknesses in NATO's weaponry and adapting these insights to develop new countermeasures and weapons. A captured US Abrams M1A1, for example, was put on display in Moscow, a not so subtle reminder that Russia is taking stock of NATO's technology and learning from it. Retired Russian Colonel Anatoly Matvichuk shared his observations on October 23rd, criticizing Western military equipment for what he sees as misplaced priorities. According to Matvichuk, many Western weapons and vehicles emphasize comfort and ergonomics over rugged, combat ready durability. NATO's military designers may be leaning a little too far into user friendly designs that, while great for peacetime operations, reveal some inadequacies in a live combat zone. In Ukraine, some of these equipment have struggled to meet the demands of high intensity warfare, giving Russian forces valuable insights into areas where NATO systems may falter under pressure. Perhaps even more concerning for NATO is that these lessons are not confined to Russia alone. Costanza pointed out the growing military collaboration between Russia and other nations like China and Iran, with whom Moscow is sharing its battlefield findings. In fact, previous reports indicate that captured NATO equipment has made its way to Iran for reverse engineering, allowing Tehran to uncover and potentially replicate NATO machines. This emerging nexus among Russia, China, and Iran is one that could pose an increasingly complex challenge for NATO. As NATO supplies Ukraine with advanced weapons and equipment, it is indirectly exposing its own vulnerabilities. NATO forces, after all, rely on the same systems and tactics being deployed in Ukraine. When Russia encounters, assesses, and overcomes these systems, it is learning not just how to fight Ukraine, but how to counter NATO itself. Costanza's warning highlights the precarious position NATO finds itself in. Eastern European allies who share borders with Russia have particular cause for concern as they could be directly affected by any future conflict. Russia's military is adapting to confront precisely these kinds of NATO aligned forces. If Russia can continue to refine its strategies based on its experiences in Ukraine, NATO defenses in these European countries might not be as robust as they once seemed.